Well, Industry Minister James Moore was forced to apologize today for comments he made about poor children. On Friday, he said that feeding his neighbor's child isn't his job, a comment seen by many as callous. Statistics Canada says 1 in 7 children lives in a low-income household, even though the federal parties unanimously agreed in 1989 to eradicate child poverty by the year 2000. Just last March, more than 833,000 Canadians turned to food banks. Half were families with children. So what has Ottawa actually done to try to change the situation? Rosemary Barton now with more. Rosemary.
Peter, it started when Industry Minister James Moore was asked what the federal government would do to deal with a new report showing some of the highest rates of child poverty in the country in his home province of British Columbia.
But certainly we want to make sure that kids go to school full belly. But is that always the government's job to be there to serve people their breakfast? You know, empowering families with more power and resources so that they can feed their own children is, I think, a good thing. It's the government's just my job to feed my neighbor's child. I don't think so.
Initially, Moore tried to suggest his comments had been taken out of context by the reporter. Once the raw audio was posted, it was clear they had not, and that they were politically damaging. The minister then issued an apology, calling the comments insensitive, but refused to speak on camera. I know the cause of fighting poverty is not helped by comments like those I made last week. For that, I am sorry, he said. But the comments do raise larger questions about what this government and others have done to fight poverty at all.
Of child poverty in Canada.
It has been 24 years since the House of Commons first voted unanimously to end child poverty by the year 2000. With an estimated 1 in 7 children living in a low-income household, this anti-poverty group says Moore's comments prove the government has work to do.
It makes good sense from a moral and ethical perspective, but it also makes good sense to invest in poverty eradication from an economic point of view.
In the last budget, Ottawa did promise 5 more years of funding for affordable housing. The finance minister was asked today specifically what the government has done.
We did the working income tax benefit, which people in that area of work will tell you was the most important tax reform for persons with limited income since the 1950s.
Flaherty also mentioned an overall reduction in taxes. Still, the NDP says they could be doing more.
We need decent paying jobs right here in Canada. We need to address the growing gap between the rich and the poor in this country.
The government says there are 225,000 fewer children living in poverty than under the Liberals. But even with Moore's apology, these comments risk undermining that claim. Peter.
Rosemary Barton in Ottawa. Thanks, Rosemary.